Right now at noon, we are learning more about the immigrants detained by ICE this weekend. We'll tell you how many people were arrested, plus what one former co-worker of the Middleton workplace shooter is saying about him. And another member of the Trump administration could be losing their job. We'll tell you who.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Monday. Hope you all had a good weekend. We'll get to the stories in just a bit, but first let's head over to the Weather Center meteorologist Chris Reese has a look at your first alert forecast. Boy, bottle this up.
Absolutely. This has been fantastic. Some of the best weather we have had in a long time. But yeah, bottle it up. We do have rain chances on the way, so let's soak in the sunshine that we're seeing outside right now. Downtown, you do have almost crystal blue sky. Yes, you have a few upper level clouds, which is a slight sign of some things to come. Temperatures are already in the low 70s, so we're at 71 degrees, and part of that's due to a strong south and southeasterly wind coming in at 11 miles per hour. So that's really going to help keep temperatures on the warm side. But as we zoom out to the north and west, you find two features here on our weather map. One, we have a region of low pressure over Kentucky. That's been bringing some flooding rains to them. In fact, my family's been keeping me up to date on that. But what's going to impact us here in Wisconsin is this feature coming in over the northern plains. That is the next cold front, and you guessed it, it's moving south and eastward. That's going to be bringing a reinforcing shot of some cooler air along with some extra chances for rain. So we're going to keep our wind speeds out of the south at 12 miles per hour, helping keep things warm this afternoon. Again, highs right around 74 degrees. But our next chance of rain comes in tomorrow, and you could notice some showers as early as tonight as lows fall into the upper 50s. But tomorrow, Mark, we'll go ahead and break down the timing and what all we can expect here in Madison, Wisconsin.
You are right. Enjoy today.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks, Chris. Topping the news today, an immigration rights group says at least 34 people have been arrested by ICE in Wisconsin, including at least 11 people in the Madison area. As of this morning, organizers have also confirmed ICE arrests in Arcadia, Milwaukee, and Green Bay. Madison Police Chief Mike Koval says the department has an agreement with ICE to know when and where arrests are made. Madison Mayor Paul Soglin plans to meet with law enforcement officials and community organizers to get a better idea of the number of people detained by immigration and customs enforcement officials. A passenger involved in a crash in Rock County early Sunday morning has died. Rock County deputies say it happened around 4 o'clock just off County Highways S and County Highway BT. Deputies say 35-year-old Corey Reed of Freeport, Illinois, was intoxicated and driving an SUV when he failed to stop at an intersection, which caused the vehicle to go into a ditch and roll over several times into a cornfield. Reed, along with a front seat passenger, were wearing their seatbelts. The 27-year-old backseat passenger was not wearing his seatbelt and died from the injuries caused by the crash. Reed is facing charges, including homicide by intoxicated use of a motor vehicle. A Cross Plains man is arrested for driving under the influence with 2 children in the vehicle. The Wisconsin State Patrol says 34-year-old Josh Popier was arrested after troopers say they received multiple reports of a vehicle weaving on the road in Jefferson County. One caller reported the vehicle left the road, hit a pole, and continued to travel on I-94. He is facing charges including operating while intoxicated with passengers under the age of 16 in the vehicle. A former co-worker says a gunman who opened fire at a Wisconsin software company was quiet and never smiled. WTS Paradigm employee Anthony Tong shot 4 co-workers at the company's Middleton headquarters last Wednesday before police killed him. All of the workers survived their injuries. Isaac Hall tells the Wisconsin State Journal he left the software company for a new job a week before the shooting. He says Tong never talked and never smiled, and he says Tong, quote, creeped him out. Tong's motive remains a mystery. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein is expected to be fired after critical comments about President Trump. It follows reports Friday that Rosenstein floated the idea of secretly recording the president last year, and that he raised the idea of using the 25th Amendment to remove Trump as unfit for office. Rosenstein has denied the reports. Trump and Rosenstein spoke today. They'll meet Thursday at the White House amid uncertainty about the deputy AG's fate. A second woman has come forward accusing Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct. Deborah Ramirez, a former Yale classmate of Kavanaugh, has given an interview with the New Yorker magazine where she alleges Kavanaugh exposed himself at a dorm party. This comes after the first accuser agreed to testify about her allegations before the Senate Judiciary Committee later this week. Kavanaugh continues to deny the allegations. Actor Bill Cosby could find out as early as today if he will serve time for sexual assault. Cosby was convicted in April of drugging and molesting a former Temple University administrator, Andrea Constad, at his Philadelphia home in 2004. The 81-year-old could get up to 30 years in prison or be sent home on probation. The sentencing hearing expected to last 2 days. Well, there's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
By simply changing one ingredient in today's recipe, you can give it an entirely new personality. It's pretty amazing, so stick around. Ever since I had my restaurant years ago, I've heard from so many folks that I make some of the best cream soups around. Not to toot my own horn, but I have to admit that I've never met anyone who hasn't scraped a bowl clean. So let me share a recipe that allows you to tweak it depending on your mood. We begin by sauteing some celery and onions in a bit of butter until everything is tender. To that, we add a good amount of chicken broth, along with some diced potatoes, and a splash of vinegar. After the potatoes are tender, we stir in some milk that we've mixed with a bit of flour and a few spices. Once this thickens, we add a good amount of shredded cheese. This is where we can get really creative. By adding buffalo wing cheddar, it'll taste like your favorite buffalo wings in the form of a soup. Add some bacon ranch cheddar, and your soup will be cowboy and cowgirl approved. Today, we're going all out by stirring in some smoked Gouda that's studded with bacon. As it melts, you get the creaminess of the cheese, along with a big bowl of flavors that you love. To get the recipe for our creamy potato and cheese soup, which is perfect for personalizing with whatever fancy flavored cheese you have on hand, simply visit our website. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a cheese and soup lover's way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Thank you, Howard. Still ahead on News 3 at noon. A nice start to the work week. Meteorologist Chris Reese has a look at your first alert forecast when we come back. Let's check Wall Street at the noon hour. The Dow Industrials down 179 points to 26,564. The Nasdaq down almost 20 as trade concerns with China continue to affect investors on Wall Street. Let's check the ag numbers on this Monday. Pam Yankee in the Q106 radio suite. How are you?
Well, not bad. The weather is just fine as far as I'm concerned. That's the good news for right now. That's moving the harvest along in Wisconsin quite a little bit. Later this afternoon, we are going to be picking up our latest crop progress report. We'll find out just exactly how much farmers have gotten done over the weekend. Markets are again paying attention to the $200 billion worth of tariffs that are going to be implemented as of today. A lot of agriculture has already been paying attention on that, but amazingly enough, I'm looking at my markets and corn, beans, wheat, everything's actually trading a little higher, so that's a bit of a surprise as far as what the markets were expecting from today's trade. But like I said, so many of our commodities have already factored in these losses. Really feel some compassion, though, for my Wisconsin soybean growers. We are not soybean growers, well, soybean growers too, but our cranberry growers growers. Just last week, they finally got the directive from the U.S. Department of Agriculture that they'd been asking for more than a year. They are trying to do their own self-help program, so to speak, and curtail supplies, but they can't do it without approval from the federal government. Well, just last week, the federal government finally told them they are only going to be able to market 75% of the crop they produced this year. Well, the horse is already out of the barn, folks. Those cranberries are already grown, and they've already started the harvest. Tom Lochner, executive director of the Wisconsin Cranberry Growers, says they really would have liked to have known that before they invested in this year's crop. Now they're only going to be able to market 3/4 of it. He said this year's crop actually looks like we're going to have about 5.7 to 6 million barrel of the fruit to market in the state. Again, it looks like Wisconsin's going to be on top with a crop they cannot market. Dairy today, kind of erratic. Barrel cheese was up to $1.38. The butter rallies 4 cents today to $2.27.5 per pound. Still a little concern, Mark, about that split between barrel and block cheese. We're still at about 25 cents difference, and that is way more than we'd normally see. I know it's a lot to do with the holiday and getting supplies into the retail chain, but again, whenever you see that kind of split, we know that there's going to be a big adjustment somewhere down the road.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Thank you, Pam. Chris is here now with a look at our weather. What a perfect weekend.
Absolutely. It couldn't get any better than that. In fact, I spent just about as much of the weekend as I could outside.
Good
I was
idea.
out in parks playing games with some of the students I helped lead. But it was a fantastic weekend, and that stretch of nice weather does continue today as well. In fact, today we've been warmer than we were all weekend long. 6 degrees warmer, and that's all ahead of a change that is coming our way. Let's go ahead and show you temperatures yesterday and where they topped out. We made it to 71 here in Madison, and that's the overall trend. You had lower 70s across the south, and then they just kind of trended downward gradually as you worked your way further to the north. Then you get to extreme northern Wisconsin, right around Douglas County and up towards Superior, and that's where temperatures stayed in the 50s. So you see just how close that substantially cooler air was. We're at 71 right now, so this was our high yesterday. We still have a wind out of the south and southeast at 11, so we're going to exceed yesterday's high. Temperatures are at 75 in Janesville already and gradually warming up, and will continue to do so as we go through the rest of tonight. Pay attention to what happens tomorrow. We'll get another strong southwesterly wind in play, but towards tomorrow afternoon, the winds change and come pretty strongly out of the north and west. We'll talk more about that in just a second. So far, we are not watching any rain here in town. There are some light showers up across extreme northwestern Minnesota. Of course, we do have some rain across Kentucky as well that's brought a lot of flooding to some of my friends and family down there. But the key feature that we are going to pay attention to is this next cold front that's going to be working its way on into town. As it does so, you'll notice showers and thunderstorms developing tonight, and then again tomorrow as a region of low pressure slides on north. High pressure for Wednesday, then the next cold front comes on in. So let's go ahead and take you hour by hour through tonight and into tomorrow. Overnight, it's a southerly wind with a lot of cloud cover, so temperatures are going to be very slow to fall. Tomorrow, that southerly wind kicks on up, then the rain comes on, and then you have a strong northwesterly wind behind that. At one point, we could actually see a 20-degree temperature spread across the state of Wisconsin as some of that cooler air works on into town. The next rain chances will arrive as we go into Thursday as well, and that is where we'll see more temperatures beginning to come down, and they'll be below average for a while. In fact, we're talking temperatures that stay below average as we go through the next 2 weeks or so, which is going to be perfect for those fall colors. In fact, today I was able to add 5 more counties to the fall color report. So more and more those colors are coming in to play. And of course here in Madison, they're not overly impressive as of yet, but they will get there in time. We just have to give it time to really get impressive around here. But about 3 to 5 weeks, we'll really see that peak in terms of color. 70s going through the rest of today, 60s by the weekend, and we stay through the 60s from then on out.
Not bad. Just a little rain tomorrow.
Not bad at all. It's not the worst. It's not the worst, but it will begin to finally cool down.
And you're looking forward to autumn.
I really am. It's one of my favorite seasons.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All right, Chris, thank you. Well, there's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here to answer your plant and garden questions. The number to call, 270-9933. We'll get to your calls right after this. Lisa Briggs with the Bruce Company is here, getting ready to answer your plant and garden questions. 270-9933. You brought a bunch of houseplants today.
I did, because I wanted everybody to remember a lot of people put their houseplants outside for the summer. And with the temperature starting to tumble, it's kind of time to think about treating them before you bring them in the house. Lots of bug problems that are outside that are not a big deal outside, but when you bring your plants in untreated, those problems can escalate really fast. So use a systemic insecticide and spray them with some insecticidal soap before you bring them in.
Okay.
So just something to think about.
Can you look at them and see if there's bugs? Or
Sometimes
just
you
assume
can,
there
and
is?
sometimes just assume that there is.
All right.
Yes.
All right, let's go to the phones. We will start with Joyce in Baraboo. Hi, Joyce.
Hi.
Hi, which question?
I have a hibiscus plant that's an indoor one, but I put it outside in the summertime. But it gets little buds on it, and they turn yellow and fall off. Can you tell me what's wrong with it?
For flower buds turning yellow and falling off is often an overwatering problem. And
That's what I thought.
if you had it outside with all the rain that we've had this year, it'd probably be really easy for it to be overwatered.
Well, I have a neighbor that waters her plants.
And they're fine?
Yeah, and they're fine?
She waters her plants, and then she waters mine, too, so it's getting double water.
Okay, so yeah, I would just, when you bring it inside for the winter, just watch the water, let it dry out completely before you water it.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Dwayne in Wanakee. Hi, Dwayne.
Yes, another question about wintering bulbs, calla lily bulbs.
Okay.
What do we use to, what kind of dust or powder or whatever?
You don't. All you need to do is let the frost come so that the leaves die back in yellow, and cut those back carefully. And then you just want to basically put them in flats, either cardboard or if you have like old plastic flats. And a lot of people will use like wood Excelsior packing material or peat moss. You just want to keep them cool and dry is the main thing, so that they don't get moldy. And check them every month or so just to make sure they're not getting squishy.
So you have to dig them up.
You got to dig them up, yes.
All right, let's go to Jim in Fitchburg. Hi, Jim.
Hi, how you doing?
Great. What's your question?
I have purple shamrocks, and throughout the summer and until last month, I had like 50 of them in this pot. And I rotate them every once in a while. Now, boom, they all died, and I only got 3 left. What the heck did I do wrong?
The whole plants, or just they're not flowering?
The whole plant's gone. The stems are gone. They dried up.
Did you have them inside or outside?
I had them inside when they were flowering really, really good, and I put them outside for just a little bit. They didn't get the rain, though.
Sometimes shamrocks will get a little, it's an oxalis. Sometimes they'll go through a little dormancy period when it gets really hot. I wonder if that might be part of the problem.
Oh, sure, because it was really warm outside.
Yeah, so I would check that.
Okay. All right, thank you, Jim. Let's go to Jean in Beloit. Hi, Jean, what's your question?
I'm wondering what the best time to transplant bleeding hearts is.
Jean, early in the spring, just as they start to emerge, so you know where they're at, and then you would dig them up and put them in a new spot then. So if you've got them now, cut them back and put a little marker so you remember where they are, and then transplant them in the spring.
All right, and I had the yellow ones, and they kind of die off in the middle of summer.
Yes, some of those big, the big white and the big pink ones, those, if they're in a spot that's kind of sunny, they'll die completely back to the ground, and you won't know where they are till the spring.
I thought I lost them, and then there
Up
they
they
come.
pop, yep.
Up they pop. All right, we're out of time. If you're on the line, stay there, Lisa. We'll talk to you off the air. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
Let's get one final check of this magnificent forecast, at least for today.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely beautiful going through the rest of the day. We do have plenty of sunshine out there. We'll see those highs top out into the mid-70s. Already it is 71 degrees outside. Now, we'll notice the clouds increasing overnight. That's when we'll also have a slight chance of a shower coming through. Tuesday will be mostly cloudy and a little cooler with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms as a cold front moves on in. Behind that, it is 60s going through the rest of the 10-day forecast.
Well, fall is here. That's our time for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here at 4. Have a great afternoon.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.